When it comes to modern Western morality, non-religious people have trouble understanding why Christianity is the keystone in its development and, of course, is the only reason it still survives to this day. Now, as much as I like Dave Smith, he is going to get completely owned by Andrew Wilson on this exact same topic. But before we begin, don't forget to like and comment on this video so we can get through the algorithms. Here we go.
If it's only axiomatic and based on preference, it would be just as valid.
So how do you determine if anything is morally right or wrong?
If it's from a preference base, you couldn't.
Okay, so how do you determine that anything is morally right or wrong?
I do it from divine command. You do it from preference.
No, you do it from divine command. What does that mean? Explain that.
So this means that I follow Christian ethics. I use transcendental categories inside of philosophy to create justifications for the values which come from God's laws. That's what I do.
That's a lot of words to not say anything. How do you determine?
Do you know what transcendental? Do you know what transcendental categories are?
I don't understand the words.
It sounds like you don't understand.
Okay, explain it to me like I'm really stupid. I don't understand any of the words. So explain it to me. How do you determine if something is right and wrong?
Okay, so what I would do to make these determinations is we start with objective versus subjective. Is it a subjective value or is it an objective value? If we start with it just being a subjective value, then who cares? We never need to go any further than that. We just never need to go any further for justification. So what I've determined is that your values here in libertarianism are subjective value based. Therefore, there's never a reason for me to justify anything objectively to you because any subjective preference I have is just as valid.
You're not answering my question at
literally,
all.
That's the most precise answer you could ever get.
Andrew,
if you're a
how do you determine if something is right or wrong?
Divine command.
And then I asked you what that means, and you said
I just
nothing.
Explained.
No, you didn't.
Yeah,
you just said that you think my basis is subjective.
Okay, fine, Dave. I'll make it super simple because God tells me so. Is that better for you?
Sure. No, okay. That's the answer. That's the answer.
Okay. God tells me so.
God tells you,
yeah.
And through what means does God tell you this?
He directly communicates right into my brain. He's like, that shit's wrong.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, so just to be clear, the point of that is that, Andrew, it sounds very good when you attack someone and say, that's subjective, but when your response to that is God communicates directly into my brain, that also, I mean, I don't know what the word is for that.
Subjective.
But
it would be
subjective would probably be the word.
But that's my whole point. That's how I'm granting your entire argument. It's like, it doesn't matter. Ultimately, objectively.
But your counter is also subjective. So
right. So then that means that my preference is no worse than your own preference.
Well, I mean, no, it means by your argument, we're even.
Yeah. If I'm using preference-based... Okay, yeah, if I'm using preference-based arguments, or I'm sorry, preference-based morality, and you're using preference-based morality,
listen,
then we're equal, Dave.
To be clear, I don't think I am using preference-based morality.
Got it. So can you make justification then?
1 second. Let me try to finish the sentence here. I don't think I am making subjective-based morality, but you accused me of that, and so my response to you is, so what's your objective base? And your response is, God talks to me directly into my head.
Yeah, for the purpose of demonstration.
All right. By the way, God also talks to me in my head, and so
perfect.
All right, fine. Like,
yeah.
All right.
So if God talks,
by your own standard,
there you go.
You haven't won anything. By your own standard, we're even.
It's not here to win it. It's here to demonstrate it, Dave.
Let's try if we can, because we're only a few minutes into this. Let's try. This got more contentious than I thought it would in the first few minutes. Let's try to just, by the way, because I want to have a good conversation with you, and I've been told by people who I love and trust that you were a guy to have a good conversation.
Yeah, but you keep on evading every question that I have for you.
Oh, all right. I don't think I have, but
so
okay.
let's answer.
Ask me a direct question.
Great.
I'm happy to answer.
Should the state come in and stop your brother from unaliving himself or not, Dave?
I would want them to. Yes.
Yes. Would you want the state to stop a man from having sex with his sister?
Yeah, I guess I would want them to.
Okay. So you want the state to utilize authority.
Well, not just the state. I would want anyone.
Okay, so I don't understand.
Anyone with the force to do it, or anyone with the strength to do it.
So then those people don't own themselves.
No, I don't think that's the conclusion.
Well, if they own themselves, can you demonstrate what they're doing wrong?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
But that's a very silly and very look, this is a very like childish interpretation of libertarianism.
You're still not answering the question. You're just prattling.
No. I didn't. immediately answered the question, and now I'm responding to the point you made. So I immediately said, yes, anyone with the authority to do it, please stop, or the power to do it, please stop. And then I was responding to what you said. So I did answer the question. What I'm saying is that the idea that if you own yourself, and this is the fundamental mistake that you made at the beginning, therefore I can't say anything is immoral, is ridiculous. And not only in the libertarian worldview, but in any worldview, there are lots of things, and I'm sure in yours, where there could be things that you don't think are illegal, but you still, or you don't think should be illegal, but you still think are wrong. So that doesn't mean anything. If I think people own themselves, I can't think there's something horribly wrong about this.
That's not the point. So I'll explain again.
Okay, sure. So please.
If you want the state to go in, if a brother is banging his sister and she can't reproduce, I don't know how you could demonstrate.
Why does reproducing matter in this?
I'll explain sure. Why, so that you can't bank on reproduction as being a harm, because it could have like some kid who's all fucked up. So I'm just taking that out of the equation.
Okay. I gotcha.
I'm just taking that out of the equation, right? She has no uterus, they can't reproduce, or maybe they're homosexuals, right? And they're just related. If they own themselves and they're adults, that is exactly what you would make the argument for gay marriage. They're adults. These adults are consenting with each other. Can you actually justify why that's wrong?
Sure.
Then justify why it's wrong.
Well, I can justify why it's wrong. Okay, there's two separate questions here. And this is almost like, I think, what you need to pick apart. So, look, there's two questions. One is, could I justify someone using force to stop them? And then could I justify why it's wrong? You get where those are two different things?
Yeah, I'm just asking why it's wrong.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, so let's do that. Can you justify why two consenting adults who are brother and sister having sex is morally wrong?
Yes.
Then do it.
Okay, because I think it's for the same reason you would think. I think it's against nature. It's evil. It just seems horrible. I don't know. Do you have a better answer for why it's wrong?
Well, yes, divine command.
Divine command. Okay, fine. So I also say divine command. That's why it's wrong.
Well, but then the axiom of self-ownership would be wrong.
No, it wouldn't. No, it wouldn't. And if you had listened to me when I was responding the first time, you would understand.
Well, here, let me now make my argument back.
Yeah,
if they don't own themselves, right, or if they do own themselves, rather, and they're two consenting adults, just like two homosexuals consenting adults, why is it actually wrong for them to do that? You say because it seems like it's against nature, which is the natural fallacy. Couldn't I just apply that to homosexuals as well and say, well, it seems like it's against nature?
Yeah, sure. Maybe you could.
And do you think so? Your moral oughts are based around just things that gross you out?
No, divine intervention, bro.
Divine command?
Yeah, there you go.
So if it's divine command, then you're going to abandon libertarianism and you're going to come over to Christian ethics, right?
No.
But I thought you made your justification based on divine command.
So the libertarian point of view basically is just you do you. As long as you're not causing harm to anyone else, go ahead and live your life. However, this is kind of a fallacy because, as Andrew Wilson points out to Dave Smith, hey, what if you had a brother who's trying to unalive himself, okay? What if you had a brother and sister, two consenting adults who are having an intimate relationship? Should you be able to stop that? Okay, and Dave Smith says, well, yeah, we should, obviously. But of course, Andrew Wilson's point is, well, if you're saying you should be able to stop that, then you're really not giving people their autonomy, right? They don't have self-ownership, okay? And this is where the Christian moral ethics come into play, because there are things that are by command, right and wrong, things we know we should and should not do. And if you don't accept these things, then of course you're opening up the slippery slope for everything else. Why not have the LGBTQ plus agenda in schools? Why not have drag time story hour? Why not transition kids before they're consenting adults, right? Why not do any of that? Because the door is wide open. What people tend to forget is that the history of the entire world is war and subjugation and slavery and mass killing, right? And dictatorships and despots, right? That is what the history of the world is. But it's not until Christianity comes along that all of a sudden, hey, slavery is bad. Women should have equal treatment. Law and order is actually a good thing. Christianity and Judeo-Christian ethics have changed the modern world. And of course, just to kind of show contrast, look around the world at all of the Middle Eastern countries where women have no rights, right? We can be executed for being a homosexual and all these things, okay? These places stand in stark contrast to our Western way of living, where yes, you have personal freedoms. But of course, the left always takes advantage of that to push their weird agenda. And the reason why they're so successful at it is because the right is often too afraid to say, hey, there is a moral right or wrong. We do have standards that we have received from on high, or as is called, divine command, okay? So if you're not willing to draw those distinctions that yes, there is right or wrong, and yes, you should stop bad behavior, then anything therefore is up for grabs. And even if you're a libertarian, even if you're a non-religious person, you have to recognize that we have these right and wrong moral standards. Otherwise, we'll be slowly dragged down the path that we've been going these last several decades. So thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, and say hi to your mom for me. Do you like t-shirts? Of course you do. And now you can support the channel by buying an Angry Teacher t-shirt designed by me, Angry Teacher. So if you like America, if you like freedom, if you like liberty, then go ahead and click the link in the description, where all designs, of course, are 100% mother approved. So enjoy yourself and find something you like today.